The silence in that boardroom hit me like a punch to the gut. There I was, 20 years of engineering experience behind me, standing in front of the biggest investors Walsh Automotive had ever courted, when Whitney Walsh waltzed in wearing a designer suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly mortgage payment. I'm Colton Barnes, 48 years old, and I'd been with this company since I got out of the Navy, worked my way up from the factory floor to senior engineering director, earned every promotion through sweat and actual results, not boardroom politics. Sorry to interrupt, Colton, Whitney said, though she didn't sound sorry at all. But there's been a change of plan. My presentation was right there on the screen behind me. 18 months of research into advanced battery management systems that could revolutionize how electric vehicles handle power distribution. This wasn't just some incremental improvement. This was breakthrough technology that could put us ahead of Tesla, ahead of everyone. The 6 investors who'd been nodding along to my data suddenly straightened up like soldiers at attention. Whitney had that effect on people, being Preston Walsh's daughter and all. My father asked me to share some exciting developments, she continued, pulling out her own laptop. We've developed a more innovative approach that shows significantly better market potential. I watched her minimize my presentation with a casual click. Just like that, 18 months of my life disappeared from view. We don't need your outdated approach anymore, she said quietly as she passed by my position, then louder to the room. Colton's work provided useful groundwork, but we're taking a more disruptive direction. I stood there, invisible now as she launched into slides that looked suspiciously familiar. Real familiar. These were concepts I'd discussed in late-night engineering sessions, ideas I'd sketched in my personal notebooks during weekend overtime. Somehow those private thoughts had become her innovative breakthrough. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Hunter Davis, our lead investor, actually stood up. "This is exactly the kind of forward thinking we need to see," he said, beaming at Whitney. "Much more scalable than traditional approaches." I packed my laptop with mechanical precision while they discussed funding rounds and market penetration strategies. Nobody noticed when I slipped my security badge from my wallet and placed it on the conference table. I caught Preston's eye as I headed for the door. The CEO who'd promoted me 4 times, who'd told me I was the backbone of this company's engineering division, now looked through me like I was already gone. "Enjoy the funding," I said quietly, my voice steadier than I felt. The shaking started when I reached my truck. 20 years of loyalty, innovation, and 60-hour weeks, and they just tossed me aside like yesterday's newspaper. But here's the thing about Navy training. It teaches you to think under pressure, to plan for contingencies. I'd seen this coming 6 months ago. Whitney had arrived fresh from Northwestern with her MBA and her made-up title, Vice President of Strategic Development. Preston introduced her with proud father eyes, talking about fresh perspectives and innovation. I tried to be welcoming, shared my research when she asked questions, explained methodology when she seemed interested. "You're brilliant, Colton," she told me once, leaning against my workstation, "but you don't understand how this industry actually works in the modern era." That should have been my first warning. The investor meeting had been scheduled for months, my chance to present directly to the money people who controlled our future. Preston had personally reviewed my slides, nodded with satisfaction at the test results. Then, 2 weeks before the meeting, Whitney started asking more detailed questions. She wanted to see my latest engineering notes, needed to understand the commercial applications more clearly, said she was developing complementary strategies. I opened up like an idiot. But here's what she didn't know, what nobody knew except my closest engineer buddy, Kelsey Martinez. I'd been documenting everything. Every question Whitney asked, every file she accessed, every late-night visit to my lab station. Kelsey helped me set up security protocols that tracked digital access to my research. We caught her copying files at 11:30 p.m. on 3 separate occasions. So I did what any good engineer does when you suspect system failure. I created redundancy. Critical algorithms stayed on my personal systems. Core stabilization protocols lived on encrypted drives in my home office. The company had the framework, but not the engine. By the time I got home that day, my phone was already buzzing. Text from Kelsey. "What just happened? Engineering floor is going crazy." Then another from Preston himself. "We need to talk now." I turned off my phone and opened a beer instead. Tomorrow was going to be interesting. The next morning dawned with that strange calm you get before a storm. I'd slept better than I had in months, probably because for the first time in 6 months I knew exactly what was coming next. No more wondering when the other shoe would drop. I put on my best work shirt, the one my wife had bought me for my last promotion before cancer took her 3 years ago, and drove to the plant like nothing had changed. The security guard looked confused when I waved my backup visitor's pass. "Thought you quit yesterday," he said. "Just visiting," I answered with a smile that felt genuine for the first time in months. The engineering floor was buzzing with nervous energy when I walked through. Conversation stopped as I passed. Kelsey appeared at my side immediately, her face tight with worry. "Preston's been looking for you since yesterday afternoon," she whispered. "He's losing it. What did you do?" I started gathering my personal tools from my workstation, the Craftsman socket set I'd bought with my first promotion bonus, the digital calipers my mentor had given me when he retired, the framed photo of my Navy unit from Desert Storm. "Nothing they didn't deserve," I said, wrapping my precision measuring tools in their protective cloth. Before she could respond, Preston's voice boomed across the floor. "Barnes, my office now!" The walk to his office felt like crossing a minefield. Every engineer tracked my movement, waiting for fireworks. Preston stood in his doorway, face red with anger, his Marine Corps bearing somehow making him look desperate rather than powerful. "Close the door," he barked when I entered. I did, carefully, then stood waiting. Wasn't going to sit unless invited. Small act of defiance, but it would register with a former Marine who understood military protocol. "Where is it?" he demanded. I tilted my head slightly. "Where's what exactly?" "Don't play games with me, Colton. You know exactly what's missing. The investors are coming back this afternoon for a technical demonstration. Suddenly, we can't replicate the core battery management protocols you developed." I let his words hang in the air, enjoying watching his certainty crack like ice under pressure. "I'm afraid I don't follow," I said finally. "According to yesterday's meeting, you're going with Whitney's innovative approach instead. My outdated methods aren't needed anymore." Preston's face went darker. "Her approach builds on your stabilization protocols, which are suddenly non-functional in our systems. What did you remove?" I smiled then. The kind of smile that comes from holding all the cards while your opponent realizes they've been bluffing with nothing. "I didn't remove anything from company systems, Preston. That would be unethical and possibly illegal." "Then explain why our engineering team can't make it work this morning. Mason Clark has been trying for 4 hours straight." The door opened and Whitney swept in. Her confidence from yesterday replaced with barely controlled panic. Her perfect hair was slightly messed, like she'd been running her hands through it. "Dad, the lab team can't get the stabilization sequence to—" She stopped short when she saw me. "What's he doing here?" I turned to face her, maintaining my calm. "Collecting my personal items since you made it clear yesterday that my ideas aren't needed anymore." Whitney looked between me and her father, her MBA-trained composure cracking. "You did something. We can't get the battery management system to work properly. The voltage regulation is all wrong." "That's unfortunate," I said, adjusting my tool bag on my shoulder. "Have you tried following your own disruptive approach, the one you presented yesterday?" Color drained from her face. "You know I was building on your foundation work. That wasn't mentioned in your presentation. You specifically said you'd developed an alternative approach that made mine obsolete." Preston stepped forward, his executive presence faltering. "Enough games. The investors will be here in 2 hours. Fix this and we can discuss compensation, promotion, whatever you want." I looked at him directly. This man who'd given me my first real chance after the Navy, who'd trusted me with multi-million-dollar projects, who'd become something like a father figure after my own dad died. "I can't help you, Preston. Like I said, I didn't remove anything from company systems. Everything I developed while employed here remains intact." "Then why isn't it working?" Whitney hissed, her voice rising with desperation. I checked my watch deliberately, the same Timex I'd worn through 2 deployments and 20 years of corporate meetings. Maybe because engineering requires understanding, not just PowerPoint slides and business buzzwords. I moved toward the door. Preston blocked my path, his frame filling the doorway. "You're not leaving until you fix this." I kept my expression neutral, drawing on the same calm I'd used when facing hostile situations overseas. "Are you physically preventing me from leaving? Because that creates a whole different set of problems for you." Preston was ruthless, calculating, privileged, but not stupid. He'd built this company from a 2-person garage operation. He understood consequences. After a moment that felt like an hour, he stepped aside, jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. "This isn't over," he said. Actually, it is, I replied, walking past him. I quit yesterday. Remember when your daughter announced my methods were outdated? I felt their stares burning into my back as I walked through the engineering floor. Colleagues who had been whispering minutes earlier now watched in stunned silence. Most would never dare to stand up to Preston. His reputation for crushing opposition was legendary in Detroit automotive circles. As I reached the main door, Whitney's voice rang out, high and strained. He sabotaged us. He must have. I didn't turn around. Didn't need to see the expressions to know the damage was spreading. Doubt, confusion, fear. The investors would arrive to find chaos instead of confidence. The perfect presentation Whitney had delivered yesterday would crumble when they asked for live demonstrations. Outside, I took my first clean breath since entering the building. The Michigan air felt different somehow, cleaner after the suffocating tension inside. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from unknown numbers and a text from Kelsey. Whatever you just did, the investors are here early and Preston looks like he's having a heart attack. Engineering team is in full panic mode. I sat in my truck but didn't start it immediately. Instead, I watched the main entrance, waiting. Military training teaches you patience, how to observe before acting. 15 minutes later, Hunter Davis arrived with the full investment team. Expensive cars, confident strides, people accustomed to being catered to, expecting polished presentations and flawless demonstrations. They had no idea they were walking into a complete disaster. My phone rang 20 minutes after that. Unknown number, but I recognized the area code. Colton speaking. This is Hunter Davis. His voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the strain underneath. We need to talk. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Where are you? I looked at the glass building gleaming in the afternoon sun, watching people hurry in and out of the main entrance like ants from a disturbed hill. Close by. Meet me at Murphy's Diner on Industrial Boulevard. 15 minutes. He hung up without waiting for my response. I smiled at my reflection in the rearview mirror. Right on schedule. When I walked into Murphy's, Hunter was already in a corner booth, far from other customers. His usually perfect appearance showed stress. Tie loose, sweat on his forehead despite the October chill, expensive suit wrinkled like he'd been pacing. I ordered coffee and a piece of apple pie before joining him, taking my time, establishing control of the interaction. The waitress, a woman about my age with kind eyes, seemed to sense the tension. You boys having a business meeting? She asked with a smile. Something like that, I replied. What happened in there? Hunter demanded when I finally sat down. I sipped my coffee, noting he hadn't ordered anything. You'll have to be more specific. Don't play games, Colton. Yesterday, Whitney presents revolutionary battery technology that could change the entire automotive industry. Today, nobody can make it work, and Preston looks like he's about to have a nervous breakdown. Sounds stressful for them. Hunter leaned forward across the scarred Formica table. 6 investors are ready to commit $45 million in funding, but not if this is smoke and mirrors. We don't back companies that can't deliver on their promises. I nodded thoughtfully, cutting into my pie. Smart investment philosophy. What do you want? Direct now. He recognized negotiation when he saw it. Want for what? To fix this. To make the technology work like it did in all the preliminary reports we reviewed. The lab results were impressive, Colton. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky concept. I'm not employed there anymore. That can change. He pulled out his phone, scrolling to what looked like financial data. Your salary was $140,000. We can double that, triple it, plus equity stake. I shook my head, taking another bite of pie. The apples were perfectly seasoned, reminded me of the ones my grandmother used to make when I was a kid, visiting her farm in Ohio. You're negotiating with the wrong person, Hunter. His eyes narrowed. What does that mean? Means I'm not interested in going back to work for Preston Walsh. Then what do you want? I took another sip, letting him wait. Outside, I could see Walsh automotive employees heading to lunch, probably talking about the chaos happening inside their building. You're investing in specific technology, correct? Battery management systems that allow efficient power distribution with minimal energy loss, extending electric vehicle range by 40%, yes. And you verified this technology works, that it's reproducible, scalable, commercially viable? He shifted uncomfortably, his confidence wavering. The preliminary data was compelling. But this morning, I finished. This morning, nobody could make it work. Doesn't that concern you as an investor? It would concern me more if I didn't think you were behind it somehow. I smiled, the same expression I'd used when poker-faced interrogators tried to break down junior sailors during training exercises. That's quite an accusation. Am I wrong? Let me ask you something, Hunter. In yesterday's presentation, who did Whitney say developed this technology? He frowned, thinking back through the carefully choreographed presentation. She presented it as the company's innovation, her team's breakthrough. I nodded slowly. Interesting. His expression changed as understanding dawned like sunrise over Lake Huron. You're saying she didn't actually... I'm saying you should be very careful where you put $45 million, especially when the person presenting can't actually deliver what they're selling. I stood up, leaving my coffee half-finished and a $10 bill on the table. Call this number at 8 a.m. tomorrow if you're interested in seeing what actually works. I handed him a business card. Plain white, no company logo, just a phone number in simple black text. Wait. Hunter reached for my arm but stopped short of touching me. We need to continue this conversation. Tomorrow morning, I said, if you're genuinely interested in the technology rather than just the presentation. By the time I got home, my phone was lighting up with messages. The engineering floor was in complete disarray. Technicians couldn't replicate results that had been consistent for months. Whitney was blaming equipment failures and suggesting sabotage. Preston was threatening terminations if anyone couldn't fix the problem by end of business. Kelsey texted, Preston just fired Mason Clark for suggesting the process might be fundamentally flawed. This place is losing its mind. What did you do? I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I opened my laptop and began preparing for tomorrow's 8 a.m. meeting. Everything needed to be perfect. Professional presentation materials, technical documentation, legal papers I'd been preparing for months. At 7:30 that evening, my doorbell rang. Security camera showed Preston standing on my front porch alone, his company Mercedes idling at the curb with no driver visible. He'd come personally, without backup, without witnesses. I considered ignoring him, pretending I wasn't home, but this confrontation was inevitable. Had been building for 6 months. Better to handle it on my terms, in my space. When I opened the door, he looked older than he had that morning. The powerful CEO facade was cracking, showing the worried father and desperate business owner underneath. May I come in? His voice lacked its usual commanding tone, carried a note of something I'd never heard from Preston. Walsh before. Uncertainty. I stepped aside, allowing him entry but saying nothing. He glanced around my modest living room, taking in the engineering journals stacked on my coffee table, the small desk cluttered with technical drawings, my old Navy photos arranged on the mantel. The home of a working engineer, not a corporate executive. The investors walked out, he said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. Sorry to hear that, I said, though we both knew I wasn't. No, you're not. There was no anger in his voice now, just exhaustion. You planned this whole thing. I planned nothing, Preston. I protected my work and then quit when your daughter made it clear I wasn't valued. He winced at my directness, sinking onto my couch without invitation. Whitney was overzealous. She shouldn't have presented without crediting your contributions. Contributions? I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. That's one way to describe developing the entire system from scratch. We can fix this, he said, looking up at me with something approaching desperation. Come back. Full credit, higher position. Name your terms. I studied him, this man who'd once represented opportunity to me, who'd given me chances to prove myself when other companies passed me over for younger engineers with fancier degrees. Why would I trust you now? Because without you, we lose everything. The company, the funding, 400 jobs. You mean everything I built while you took the credit and your daughter learned to steal? He flinched, but didn't deny it. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of 20 years hanging between us. What do you want, Colton? I want you to leave. At exactly 8 a.m. the next morning, my phone rang. Hello, Hunter? Colton. His voice was different now, respectful. I've been thinking about our conversation. And I'd like to see what actually works, but I'm not alone. Who's with you? The entire investment consortium. After yesterday's situation, we need certainty. 2 hours later, I stood in front of 6 of the industry's most powerful investors in a downtown Detroit conference room I'd rented. No Preston, No Whitney, just me, and 20 years of real engineering experience. Before I begin, I said, setting up my equipment, I want to be clear about something. What you're about to see belongs to me personally, not to Walsh Automotive. Hunter leaned forward. That contradicts what we were told. I imagine many things you were told won't hold up to scrutiny. I launched into my presentation, explaining the real methodology behind the battery management breakthrough, demonstrated the results with systems I'd built in my garage, let them verify efficiency themselves. No PowerPoint magic, just working technology they could touch and test. When I finished, silence for several seconds. "This is remarkable work, Colton," Hunter finally said, "but it raises serious questions about what happened at Walsh. I can answer those questions, but first, do you want to fund the actual innovation or just presentations about it?" Another investor, Brooke Hamilton, spoke up. "Are you saying you've started your own company?" "Precision Engineering Solutions, incorporated 3 weeks ago." Hunter's eyebrows rose. 3 weeks? Before the presentation? I nodded. "The technology and intellectual property belong to me, developed through independent research using my own equipment and time." "Preston will fight that claim," Brooke said. "Let him." I slid a folder across the table. "This contains documentation of every step I took to protect my work, verified by independent legal counsel." Hunter opened the folder, scanning with growing interest. "You've been planning this for months." "I've been protecting myself for months. There's a difference." The investors exchanged glances, silent conversation above the polished conference table. "Your documentation shows independent development," Brooke continued. "But most employment contracts have IP clauses. Mine did too, which is why I was careful to develop critical components on my own time with my own resources. Walsh has a version that works in testing, but not the refined system I've perfected since realizing what was happening." "And when was that?" another investor asked. "When Whitney started asking specific questions instead of learning the science. When I caught her going through my files after hours. You have proof? Security footage. I requested it, claiming I'd lost some notes. Cameras caught her at my workstation 3 times when I wasn't present." The room went quiet. I could see calculations happening. Not just financial, but reputational. "What exactly are you proposing?" Hunter asked. "Precision Engineering Solutions is seeking $35 million to bring this battery management platform to market. Small, focused team, no bloated management, just engineers who understand what we're building. By 6 p.m. that day, I had a preliminary commitment for $35 million in funding with performance milestones that could bring it to $50 million. Precision Engineering Solutions was real. 3 months later, I sat in my new office overlooking the Detroit River, watching our first prototype roll off the production line. Kelsey Martinez was my chief engineer. We'd hired 4 other Walsh veterans who'd been passed over for promotion despite their experience. My desk phone rang. Caller ID showed Preston Walsh. "Hello, Preston." "Colton." His voice was different now, defeated. "I wanted to congratulate you on the Ford partnership. Ford Motor Company had signed an exclusive 3-year contract for our battery management systems, $120 million over the contract period." "Thank you." "You won," he said simply. "Was it worth it?" I looked out at the production floor where experienced engineers were building technology that would power the next generation of American electric vehicles, where people were valued for what they knew, not who they knew. "Yes," I said. "It was worth it." I hung up and walked back to the production floor, where Kelsey was training a new engineer fresh out of Michigan Tech. Young kid reminded me of myself 25 years ago. Hungry, talented, full of ideas nobody wanted to hear. "How's he doing?" I asked. "Smart as hell," Kelsey said. "Reminds me of someone I used to know who had to fight for every bit of respect he got." I watched the kid work, saw the same determination I'd carried through 2 decades of proving myself over and over. The difference was, here he wouldn't have to fight alone. "Make sure he knows his ideas matter," I said, "and that experience counts for something." 2 weeks later, Whitney Walsh showed up at our front desk. Security called up, asking if I wanted to see her. I almost said no, but curiosity got the better of me. She sat across from my desk, looking nothing like the confident MBA who'd stolen my presentation 4 months earlier. Her designer suit was replaced with business casual, her arrogance with something approaching humility. "I came to apologize," she said quietly. "For what, specifically?" "For taking credit for your work, for thinking I could fake my way through engineering, for not understanding what I was destroying." I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation, found only genuine regret. "What happened to Walsh Automotive? Dad sold it last month, to a Chinese consortium. Most of the engineering team was let go." She paused. "Including the people who stayed loyal after you left. That's unfortunate." "I learned something," she said. "MBA programs teach you to manage people and processes. They don't teach you to create anything real. And what are you going to do with that knowledge?" "I don't know yet, but I won't make the same mistake again." After she left, I sat thinking about second chances and hard lessons. Some people learn from their failures. Others just find new ways to fail. The best revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about building something they could never imagine, something that proves your worth beyond any doubt, something that lasts long after the politics are forgotten. And sometimes it's about making sure the next generation gets the respect you had to fight for. Standing at my office window, watching our engineers perfect technology that would change how America drives, I finally understood what real success looked like. It wasn't about beating Preston and Whitney. It was about creating something bigger than their small-minded games, something that would outlast us all.